Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a Victoria County man is in jail for shooting and killing his father over the weekend.
A woman is left with a costly disaster after paying to fix her plumbing. Workers tore her Victoria home apart, then vanished.
And a chilling cold snap is on the way. A look at preparations to help residents stay warm and ready before the temperatures drop.
Yes, I wanted to show you that here is the Arctic front. This is a blast of Arctic air similar to the one we had earlier this year. It's going to be dropping down into our area, and we're looking for about 4 or 5 very cold days down to freezing and maybe even below. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a moment.
And Victoria West swim team is ready to compete at the state level this Friday. Hear from the head coach and one of the swimmers coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker. We're expecting an extreme change in our weather this week. Let's take a first look at your forecast.
Here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. And Mac, this is, I want to say bitterly cold weather that we're expecting.
Absolutely. Right? I'm not so much worried about ice and snow in this one, but it's going to be bitter cold for sure. This low right here is going to roll this way, and then that cold air is going to drop on top of us, and we're going to be descending into some rather chilly temperatures. As a matter of fact, we have the alert flags up because from Wednesday through Thursday, all of the Crossroads counties will be looking at some freezing temperatures, and on either Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, we're looking for temperatures in the 20s. Now that combined with a 30 to 40 mile an hour wind, that is going to create wind chill problems for us. So outdoor activity is going to be very limited because it's going to be bone chilling cold. We'll be talking more about that, telling you when the coldest air arrives, all that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
With this bitter cold blast heading our way, local and state leaders are getting ready and warning residents to take action before temperatures plummet. And
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with experts and community leaders about critical steps to stay safe in the dangerous cold, right?
Yes, Don and Shawna, on Wednesday, temperatures are expected to drop at a low of 35 degrees, and officials are urging residents to prepare now by stocking up on essentials and having a plan in place before conditions deteriorate.
ERCOT has sent out a weather watch regarding the cold front that will arrive on Wednesday night. The lowest it'll be is 35 degrees. It's recommended that you wear multiple layers of clothing, find a relative, a shelter to bundle up in, and most of all, if you can, stay home.
You need to find out where the shelters in town are going to be.
Christ Kitchen will be open at 7 a.m. Tuesday to serve coffee. Officials at the Salvation Army say to take precaution by wearing gloves or to stop by there as well.
You know, winter is not, it's far from over. It's far from over.
The Homeless Coalition is also planning to open the shelter. On this week, 4 years ago, Victoria was under a hard freeze that caused power and water outages.
The Salvation Army, Midcoast Family Services, and other groups will meet tomorrow morning to decide location and hours for local shelters. Shawna, Don, back to you.
Ray, thank you. Governor Greg Abbott is warning Texans to prepare for severe weather that is expected to impact the state in the coming days.
Extreme cold temperatures, but along with that, the threat of flooding and fire danger, all possibilities across Texas.
We actually are dealing with fire-based concerns out in the West Texas region, ranging from El Paso over to Pecos, Texas. It's an element that Texas emergency responders are making sure that they're going to be able to monitor, contain, provide the resources, whatever is needed. And then after that, there's going to be a storm coming in that will bring a lot of heavy rain to East Texas and especially Southeast Texas, where we are monitoring for potential flooding situations in those areas. And then is going to come what will likely be the coldest weather event of the year. And actually in some places in the state of Texas, it may be the coldest event ever marked in history in the state of Texas.
Governor Abbott says the state is ready to respond and residents should be as well. A family dispute in Victoria County turns deadly, ending with a son behind bars and a father fatally shot. Victoria County deputies rushed to a home on Cooley Road Sunday, where they found 78-year-old Ronald LeBlanc Sr. dead from a gunshot wound. His son, 42-year-old Ronald LeBlanc Jr., was still at the scene and taken into custody. Investigators say the shooting happened after a heated altercation outside the home. LeBlanc Jr. is now facing a murder charge and is in the Victoria County Jail on $500,000 bond.
8 people in the country illegally were detained in Lavaca County last week. One of those people, 28-year-old Daniel Tristan Guerra of Mexico, pleaded guilty in Victoria County 4 years ago to 2 counts of invasive visual recordings in a bathroom. He was placed on 5 years probation after he pleaded guilty. Authorities said he had no prior removals for immigration issues. One person died after being shot during a series of aggravated robberies at a Bay City apartment complex. The shooting happened Thursday afternoon in the 1900 block of Palm Village Boulevard in Bay City. Authorities have not released details about the person who died. Police said the investigation remains active. Anyone with information about the robberies or shooting is asked to call Bay City Police at 979-323-1771.
A Victoria resident is out $36,000 after a plumber started work but never finished it.
And 25 News Now weekend anchor Trenton Whiting has been digging into the details and joins us with the latest. Trenton?
Dawn, Shawna, thank you. Blanca Jimenez needs her bathroom and outside plumbing repaired, so she put her trust in a Corpus Christi-based plumbing company to do the work. That was back in December, and over $30,000 later, she's still waiting for workers to finish the job. As of now, Jimenez is left with a mess in her yard and unusable restrooms. She's had to set up a temporary restroom in the closet.
I spent $36,000 and they left both bathrooms in my backyard, just a shambles. They took all their tools. I said I didn't have any more money to give them, so they just came from Corpus and packed up all their stuff and left my yard.
Jimenez has lived in these conditions since December. She's having issues contacting the company that did the work and is looking into how to file a formal complaint. Now, Jimenez is left picking up the pieces and warning others to double check before they hire. Dawn, Shawna, back to you.
Thank you, Trenton. Well, this brings us to our viewer poll today. How do you avoid business scams? Do you read reviews and compare prices? Do you ask for everything in writing? Only use trusted businesses, or you don't worry much about scams? We want to hear excuse me, we want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And similar to 5 o'clock, 68% of you say you only use trusted businesses, whether you've used them before, word of mouth, however, you've come to know that they're a trusted business. And then read reviews and compare prices and ask for everything in writing is pretty much kind of tied there. But the I don't worry much about scams came up quite a bit since 5. So continue voting. We'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 10. Well, for President's Day, the White House posted President Trump's mugshot on social media. The photo, taken in 2023 after Trump was indicted in Georgia over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election, was paired with his official White House portrait. Alongside the photos, the post included the phrase, "They're not just after me, they're after you. I'm just standing in the way." Trump faced 4 indictments in 2023, one of which led to a trial in New York. He was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records, but was given an unconditional discharge, meaning no penalties. He is appealing the felony convictions.
The White House fired hundreds of Federal Aviation Administration employees over the weekend. Some 300 members of the Professional Aviation Safety Specialist Union received notices. The union called the firings a, quote, hastily made decision, unquote, that would put more work on a workforce that is already stretched thin.
At least 15 people, including a child, are hurt when a plane flipped upon landing at an airport in Toronto. 2 people are in critical condition, but their injuries are not considered life-threatening. The crash happened this afternoon, and the plane ended up upside down on the snowy runway. Delta Airlines says 80 people were aboard the flight from Minneapolis. They have all been accounted for. Delta CEO thanked the first responders and expressed support for those affected by the crash. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, Pope Francis is hospitalized in Rome. We'll have an update on his condition.
Also ahead, talks between the U.S. and Russia to end the war in Ukraine are about to start.
It's that time of year again. You know what's inside, but you just can't bring yourself to open it. How much could it be this time? Will it break the bank? Or will it be manageable? There's no escaping it. The bill is here. The Property Tax Puzzle, Thursday at 10 p.m. on 25 News Now Extra.
Pope Francis will need a change in medical treatment after tests revealed a complex clinical picture. The Vatican announced that the 88-year-old pontiff has a polymicrobial infection in his respiratory tract, requiring further hospitalization. He was admitted to a Rome hospital on Friday for the infection, but is reported to have slept well and had breakfast on Monday. The Pope did not lead the weekly Angelus prayer on Sunday, a rare occurrence in his nearly 12 years as Pope. He has a history of lung issues and has recently been seen using a wheelchair after suffering 2 falls. We are now just one day away from highly anticipated negotiations between the U.S. and Russia about its conflict in Ukraine, set to begin on Tuesday in Saudi Arabia. Saudi officials say they'll play a key mediation role.
President Donald Trump confirmed Sunday that Ukraine's president will be involved. A Kremlin spokesman says the talks could signal a big change is about to take place in relations between the U.S. and Russia. Here's the latest from Moscow.
The Russians remain very optimistic as far as those talks are concerned that are set to take place in Saudi Arabia this coming week between Russia and the United States to try and hammer out an agreement to end the war in Ukraine. But the Russians seem to believe that in general, relations between Russia and the United States could go into a new era and get a completely new dynamic. The spokesman for the Kremlin, Dmitry Peskov, on Sunday said that he believes in the future there is going to be dialogue between the United States and Russia rather than confrontation under the Trump administration, and that also the two administrations will be speaking about peace, as he put it, in the future. Dmitry Peskov also said that he believes that President Trump's views on Russia should be endorsed by every sound-minded person, as he put it. So clearly, the Russians certainly putting a lot of stake into President Trump and what he's done so far in trying to get U.S.-Russian relations back on track. Now, the Russians, though, have made no secret of the fact that they believe that negotiations to end the war in Ukraine certainly won't be easy. They have said that they don't want to negotiate, for instance, about that pocket that the Ukrainians control on Russian territory in the Kursk region. They say they want to take that territory back. And then, of course, there is the question of all the territory that the Russians currently occupy on the Ukrainian side of the border. At the same time, the Russians also, after a phone call between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Saturday, in a readout seemed to indicate that all of this could be a larger reset between these two nations. They said that the Secretary of State and the Russian foreign minister spoke not only about a possible agreement to end the war in Ukraine, but possible that there could also be talks about, for instance, sanctions relief and economic cooperation between the United States and Russia in the future. So clearly, there's a lot of dynamic right now here in political Moscow, and certainly a lot of optimism that Russia could be in a very good place with the United States fairly soon. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Moscow.
It's a cross between a wolverine and a pit bull. A skull found in Egypt could reveal clues about a prehistoric predator that had cat-like teeth and the body of a dog. Researchers say they've uncovered a nearly complete skull of what they call a bastitodon, a powerful predator that was on top of the food chain only 30 million years ago. The skull indicates the carnivore had a short snout, sharp teeth, and a strong bite.
And the Oscar goes to, well, we want to know who you think it will go to. Predict the Oscars for your chance to win a $60 gift card bundle from Peter Piper Pizza. Deadline for entries is March 2nd. To submit your prediction, visit crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. Get a load of your temperatures over the next few days. 58 the low tomorrow, then 38, then 26, then 34 and 39. We've got a cold blast headed in our direction. When will it get here? All that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. The alert flags are up for the next 3-4 days because we've got some bitter cold weather rolling in our direction. When does it get here? Tuesday night, late, about midnight. And so Wednesday, you'll feel it because it's a strong, cold Arctic outbreak. All of the Crossroads country, we're going to be looking at sub-freezing temperatures. In fact, we may be touching into the 20s. This is going to be one for the record books, folks. I don't think that it's going to be the snow Armageddon that we had 4 or 5 years ago, but it's going to be something that we all have to prepare for. What's happening today, you may have noticed we started off clear and blue. By the end of the day, the clouds rolled in because the south wind is getting stronger, and that wind is rolling up into this area of low pressure. In fact, everything is rolling into this low pressure, and when it gets here, the air goes up into the atmosphere. Well, as we look to the north, a very strong pocket of cold air is going to be affected by this low. As this low is spinning in this direction, you can see it, it's going to roll in this direction, and then that's going to pull that cold air all the way down into our area. Yeah, the temperatures are going to be brutal, and of course you have to factor in the wind chill because we're going to be getting 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts behind us. So 58 tomorrow morning, and then on Wednesday, but down to 36. It's Thursday that will be the bottom of the storm. We're looking at a 26, 25 as a low temperature, and of course a 30-mile-an-hour wind on that will make it feel like it's about 18. So being outdoors Thursday morning is going to be really tough. for anybody. And then we'll still be at freezing near there. And by the weekend, we'll sort of moderate. But notice the temperatures as we go forward. This is 7 a.m. Tuesday. You know, reasonable, not bad, in the 60s and 50s. And then we go to 8 a.m. on Tuesday, no problem. Middle of the day, looking good on Tuesday, 7 in the afternoon in the 60s. Well, look what happens Tuesday night. Boom, okay? That north wind will be howling through here and dropping the temperatures dramatically. There you see Wednesday sunrise, when we'll be in the 30s right about here, and it's the next morning, which is Thursday morning, when temperatures really will be dropping down into the 20s, 26 being the current forecast low temperature for Thursday morning. So again, you got to prepare now. Of course, we've been through this before, so you know the drill. The pets, the pipes, the plants, and the people as well. Also, not only the your domestic pets, but farm animals are going to have some food and something to shelter against that strong north wind. Now, here's the blizzard part of it on Monday. It's way up here. As we go to Tuesday, you can see how that thing's going to drop down into the central plains. And as it spins here, that's when the cold Arctic air drops in right behind it, okay? So that'll be on top of us by the time we get to Wednesday and on into Thursday. And Thursday, of course, is going to be clear and very cold. That being said, by the time we get then beyond that, we're going to start seeing the cloud deck and the rain start rolling back up. And so we've got a pretty good shot at getting some rainfall around here by the end of the week. So the good thing is the bitter cold and the moisture are not together. Okay, so I don't expect anything that looks like, ice and snow, although things will be freezing if they're outdoors. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, we start off at 63 and get up to about 72 with the rain chance increasing during the day. The front comes in about 10 o'clock at night. Cuero, same thing. We start at 57, getting up to about 73 with the rain showers increasing, although I don't expect any heavy rain. And then it's Wednesday morning, and then Thursday down to 26, 34. We really don't moderate the temperatures until we get to the next weekend. So we're going to be looking at some very cold weather coming into the crossroads. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have this QR code. If you scan that with your phone, you can put Crossroads a day right on your cell phone. Shawna, back to you.
All right, now we send it over to Sports Director Max Williams, who's talking playoff action.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs, Shawna? Yes, we are, because after the break, we're talking about Tidehaven's matchup versus George West in the regional semifinal round, and look at day one of bi-district round play for men's hoops. I'll tell you all that coming up in fourth. right, Carrassos. Everyone, later this week, we have the 5A, 6A state swimming meets there in the Texas Swimming Center at the University of Texas. Now, here in Victoria, we have a top swimmer from Victoria East, and Nicholas Turner, that will be competing there in the event. They're in the 100-yard backstroke, but Victoria West girls swimming team is also competing in the 200-yard freestyle event there again. Earlier this morning, we attended the West swim team practice with head coach Daryl Sedlick, and also to see how the team is feeling going to state.
It's very difficult to make state, so anytime we send any athletes to state, it's a really big deal, and I'm very proud of the hard work they put in this year.
Now, Emma is one of the top swimmers in the 200-yard women's freestyle relay. Now, tune in again later tonight at 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. We'll hear from two of the other swimmers here in the freestyle event. They're headed there to state. Now over there to UHV softball, where again they had some softball action where UHV faced the Ottawa Braves in a doubleheader today at Victoria Youth Sports Complex. And the Jaguars lost the game to the Braves there 2-1, but win the game there 6-1. They're scoring all the 6 runs in the 6th inning. Again, couple of the stats we're looking at here. Jordan Jones had 2 RBIs, and senior Kenzie Chambers added 1 RBI to help the team out there. They hit the road back at Concordia, Texas in Austin there next week. Now we go over here to Tidehaven again. Now we're looking to keep their season going up here as they begin the regional semifinal round there later there tonight. Again, the Tidehaven Tigers, again, looking to keep it versus George West Longhorns at Goliad High School. In the past couple of games, Tidehaven's big production for Mara Johnson and Makai Reddick. So Tidehaven hoping to keep the season alive because they either first Georgetown Seguas or the San Diego Vaqueros in the regional round. Now, a couple of games from women's basketball to men's hoops, where they begin bi-district play here tonight. Starting in 2A, the Ganado Indians are sneaking number 4 seed there after getting in district play, facing the Thorndale Bulldogs at Giddings High School tonight. The game has already tipped off. We'll get you the final score update later on there tonight. And now the other game there in 2A in men's hoops in the Shiner Comanches facing the Milano Eagles there in the next round there. It's the game. Milano's near College Station area. So again, for Shiner, they're looking to get this win here. Again, keep improving. They went 11-5 back in the regular season. See if they can get the win tonight after the Ganado game. That's going to do it here in sports. Don and Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. In Vermont, a few artists got creative with the fresh snow that fell over the weekend. Finally tonight, the Winterfest in Rutland, Vermont kicked off on Friday. That is when a team of sculptors gathered to work on their creations. On Sunday, a winner was chosen as the Vermont qualifier for the National Snow Sculpting Competition. It is a celebration of all things winter. The event is organized by the nonprofit Come Alive Outside and will run through this Saturday. Maybe those should rename the organization Come Outside and Freeze, because that is really, oh, that's a nice sculpture. Yeah, it looks like a Schnauzer possibly or a Yorkie, but otherwise you're getting in temperatures 20 or lower than that. Yeah. Now, you're not saying that kind of thing is coming here as far as snow, ice, precip? No.
I don't see any ice or snow associated, but extremely cold, dry air. So, and on Thursday morning, we're looking at probably in the mid-20s. with a 20, 30-mile-an-hour wind that's going to feel like the upper teens. So we need to get ready for that. I mean, we did this earlier in this winter, and it's going to happen again. Fortunately, I don't think we're going to have the ice problem this time. So let's just get ready. It comes in Tuesday night at about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So most of tomorrow is okay, but by Wednesday morning, you're all going to be looking for your jackets, because we're going to need hats and gloves for the next few days here this week.
And there will be meetings tomorrow morning, I believe, with some of the organizations here that have helped in the last month to see if they will open their doors on those particularly cold nights. And when we find out, we'll let you know.
Yeah, very necessary, very necessary.
Absolutely.
And if you're one of those people, though, that doesn't like this cold weather, it looks like spring's going to be back in just a short time.
Sunday or Monday, will be 75 degrees.
Okay, so spring is still right around the corner.
Just wait a minute, it'll change. All right, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.